The National Basketball Association's season was rocked when current players and coaches were arrested as part of a nationwide crackdown on illegal gambling. One of the targets of the FBI investigation was Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier. Rozier was taken into federal custody after he allegedly removed himself from games as part of a scheme that targeted player prop bets involving online and phone app gambling services. So what impact will this ongoing investigation have on professional basketball? So for a deeper look into the world of basketball, I am joined by Shea Serrano, a journalist, podcast host, and author of the new book, Expensive Basketball, available now. Mr. Serrano, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, my friend. I'm excited to be here.
So the NBA season has really just kicked off. It's been a high-energy season, but it was kind of rocked by a series of gambling arrests that includes our local Miami Heat guard, Terry Rozier, who was involved in manipulating player props on gambling websites. So the NBA is kind of having a resurgence, but do you feel that this scandal will have any impact on the NBA moving forward?
I think, as in most instances, if you are pro for a thing or anti a thing, you're going to find a way to use this to service your own opinion. So if you're anti-gambling, you're like, clearly this is what this has all been leading to, and this is only going to get worse. And the first time somebody gets caught isn't the first time a thing has happened, and you're able to do that. If you're on the other side of it, you're going to say, well, no, we're able to police this in a way that they were able to capture the people who are trying to perpetrate this scam, and this is all a good thing. And now here we are. So it just becomes, what are you looking to do in that particular conversation? I'm not a gambling guy, so it doesn't affect me, my opinion one way or the other. What I would like, if I could just like make a thing happen, is I think if you're gambling on sports, you shouldn't be able to just do it on your phone the same way as like you DoorDash Taco Bell. Like you should have to go to like a scary sort of seedy alleyway, and there's a guy in a trench coat with a hat, and he's like flipping a coin, and he has a name like Bobby Sticks or something like that. And you know what I mean? Like that's how you should have to gamble. Do that, and then it'll be fine.
Old school gambling always works better. But I guess with the way things are now, with all the partnerships and everything else that comes with the rise in sports gambling across the nation, do you think it actually hurts the overall brand of the NBA being associated with gambling websites, or is this just the way of the land and, move forward from a scandal like this and then hopefully it's in the rearview mirror in a couple of years?
I think probably you move forward and hope it's in the rearview mirror in a couple of years. I don't think there's any way to like completely eradicate gambling from sports, and so you're gonna have to deal with it one sort of way or another.
Well, and then I guess NBA leaders were meeting with congressional leaders yesterday to kind of talk about this, but is there anything the league can even do to help limit players, coaches, and anyone involved in being seduced, I guess, by the gambling hedging that goes on?
Probably the only thing you can actually really do is, if somebody is like fully found guilty of something, just an immediate lifetime ban. You have to make the punishment scarier than the like profit. And so if you go like, all right, anybody who is caught doing any sort of thing like this, you're automatically and forever kicked out of the NBA. That's about the extent of like what the NBA could do in this sort of circumstance. And I'm just sort of guessing and making stuff up here. I have no idea what the actual answer is.
All right. Well, I think what you do know is writing about basketball. In your new book, Expensive Basketball, it kind of bypasses what has become the norm right now, which is the analytics of everything else. Instead, I saw your book described as an affirmation of feelings. And it really gives more of like your personal encounters, but also highlights the accolades and achievements of some of the game's best players. What made you approach your description of basketball and take this avenue in writing this?
Well, I think to your point, people are smarter now, smarter basketball fans than they've ever been in the past. Everybody has access to more and more information. You can go on Basketball Reference and like learn anything about any player that you want. So it's not uncommon to hear, just in a casual conversation, somebody reference a player efficiency rating or win shares or offensive box plus minus numbers or anything like that, right? That's like I get it. People are smarter, and that's how you talk about things when you want to show that you're smart. But anytime you ask somebody what their favorite basketball memory is, what their favorite basketball moment is, whatever story they end up telling you, it never begins with a number, right? It always begins with a feeling. And so, what the book proposes is that we should talk about basketball as fans anyway, with that in mind. The numbers are going to be there. They'll always be there, but they should be in service of something else, of like a different thing. They should help like fortify the feeling that you got while you were watching the game, rather than vice versa.
And then you dedicated, sections of your books to some of the biggest stars the game has ever seen. We have, parts about the legacy of Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and a lot has been brought upon about these stars. But have you learned anything more about them, or did you uncover more respect, I guess, to some of these people the more you were writing about them and writing about some of their big achievements?
I think anytime you spend a certain amount of time researching something, you come away with a more profound appreciation for it. You might like them in a way that you didn't differently. There were a ton of stories that if you're like, when you're researching for the Magic Johnson chapter or whatever, like you find yourself reading old newspaper articles from 40, 50 years ago that you had never seen, or reading old Sports Illustrated issues that you had never seen. You learn a bunch of like little tiny anecdotes, but really all that ends up happening is you just end up liking all of these people more. Everybody who's in that book, I loved watching them play basketball when I started writing the book, and by the end of it, I just loved them even more.
And I'll tell you, one of the things I really did like and enjoy was your sections on the WNBA stars. You had Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, Asia Wilson. What has led, I mean, the WNBA was in danger of folding only about 2 decades ago, and now has had this influx and surge of talent that is being equal to some of their male counterparts. How important was including some of the best female basketball players in this book?
It was important in that it's like a meaningful part of my viewing experience. It wasn't it wasn't a situation where I was like with a checklist going, let me make sure that this is represented in here. And then it was all like, who are the basketball players I'm the most interested in writing about and thinking about and spending like, a couple of years learning about. And when I put my list together, those players, Asia Wilson, who's my favorite player in the WNBA, was on there. Diana Taurasi was on there. Sue Bird was on there. Strictly from a this is a compelling basketball figure. I would like to learn more than, oh, this is a woman who plays basketball. Let me try to jam this person into the book somewhere.
And then as you look forward to like a possible, expensive basketball part two, there's been a profound
Part
surge of it.
two.
It could
This
be
one
coming
came out a
sooner than
week
you
ago.
think
Let
with
me let me walk.
but I mean, when you look at like, you were able to mention guys like Steph Curry and Giannis Antetokounmpo in this situation, but then you also have already in the next new wave of guys, whether it's Luka Doncic or Jason Tatum or even a Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese. Like, has there been anyone that you've been looking at and saying, maybe I wish I could have got them included in this book, but file it away for, a future installment?
Oh yeah, there are a bunch of people who, when I put that list together of who I was putting in there, what moments, there's probably like 150 slots long in my Google spreadsheet, or whatever. So there's a ton for if we were to do another volume. But each of the players that you mentioned, Angel, Caitlin, Tatum, Luca, like those are all expensive basketball players who are all in the middle of orchestrating expensive basketball moments, um, uh, for their careers. But yeah, there are a ton. Like we could sit here and come up with like 50 more that I never even thought about. Like here, as an exercise, name me just any one basketball player that you want right now. Just give me one.
I will tell you, I am very high right now on Cade Cunningham of the Detroit Pistons. I love his game. I
Perfect.
love the way he plays. I think
Perfect.
he's fantastic.
Perfect. I'm right there with you. So we could do a Cade Cunningham chapter, and it would be about the speed that he plays at. I just tweeted this like a couple of days ago. I was watching him do that move that he likes to do right now, where he gets to the mid range because he's a big guy, gets to the mid range, gives you a little shoulder bump, and then pulls up and shoots his jumper. Right? You used to be able to speed him up before. Now he just goes where he wants when he wants. the speed that he plays at, it's never super fast or super slow. It's like just right where he wants to be. That to me is very expensive. I love watching Cade play basketball. So we could do a Cade Cunningham chapter about the speed that he moves at, which is very uniquely Cade. Nobody else plays the way he plays.
You know, and I guess we could say this about all sports, but really with the NBA, it feels like these moments just resonate with sports fans all the time. You know, whether it's Reggie Miller's, 8 points in 10 seconds against the Knicks, Havlicek stole the ball. There are these moments that just get written in history and can turn sometimes, you know, even average players into legends. We could think of Robert Horry as always Big Shot Bob, one of the best examples of that. So what is it about basketball that creates these memories that last with fans for this long?
Well, I think there's just something poetic about it, right? Like we just watched the World Series, one of the best World Series ever. We just watched Game 7, maybe the greatest baseball game that's ever been played. I'm assuming I heard baseball people saying these things, so I'm repeating them. But like you watch the World Series, you watch football, those games, they have like pauses built into them, in between pitches, in between plays, whatever. Basketball is a little more free flowy. Basketball is the comparison you always hear is it's like the jazz of sports, where there's this general structure, but a lot of improvising is happening. And I think basketball fans understand that, and you watch it, so you know when somebody does a thing, they just are sort of doing it in the moment, like almost making it up. I'm in San Antonio. I watch every Spurs game. I was watching the Spurs play the other night, and Wimby, 7'5", the like most exciting basketball prospect in the quarter century. I'm watching him. He gets into the lane and he jumps, and for whatever reason, he does a 360 layup, just a 360. A 7'5" guy jumped in the air, did a 360, and then laid it up. And like, I'm certain he didn't know before he jumped that he was going to do a 360. He just found himself in a position where it needed to get done. But that sort of stuff is happening all of the time because the game is just constantly moving, and it becomes this like very romantic, very poetic sort of thing to watch that's just very exciting.
Well, Wembanyama, I guess, could be part of part two of this as well there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we'll say the book is Expensive Basketball. It's available right now, and I can just say it is the perfect holiday gift for any basketball fan in your life. So Shea
Yes.
Serrano, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Thanks for watching. We've got more great content for you, from news to the arts to the environment. So be sure to like and subscribe to WGCU's YouTube channel and follow us on our social media platforms for the stories that matter to you.